You can save 15% or more at Amazon when you pay with Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash. Just go to purse.bogosity.tv. You can set your own discount. 5% gets you fastest delivery, or you can set it to 30% or more if you're not in a hurry. Purse makes it so easy to save money at Amazon by buying with crypto. Just go to purse.bogosity.tv and start saving now. Welcome to the Bogosity podcast for the week of April 21st, 2019, the podcast that drove its Chevy to the levee. This is your host, Shane Killian. Let's phlogistate the news of the bogus. And following on the heels of Australia, as we covered 2 weeks ago, we didn't cover this last week because we did the Assange special, but the UK government released a bunch of proposed online safety laws which, guess what, make social media sites responsible for harmful actions committed by their users. The paper is a joint proposal published by the Department for Digital Culture, Media and Sport and the UK Home Office and, quote, comprises legislative and non-legislative measures and will make companies more responsible for their users' safety online, especially children and other vulnerable groups. Won't somebody think of the children? Quote, the white paper proposes establishing in law a new duty of care towards users, which will be overseen by an independent regulator. Companies will be held to account for tackling a comprehensive set of online harms, ranging from illegal activity and content to behaviors which are harmful but not necessarily illegal. Let me say that last part again. They're going to hold companies accountable for behaviors of their users that are not necessarily illegal. So it could be perfectly legal for them to do something, and the social media sites could still be punished for it. And they're talking about, quote, the powers to issue substantial fines and to impose liability on individual members of senior management. Basically, nobody do business in the UK ever again. If you're drinking something, stop right now unless you want to do a spit take. Quote, as a world leader in emerging technologies and innovative regulation, the UK is well placed to seize these opportunities. We want technology itself to be part of the solution, and we propose measures to boost the tech safety sector in the UK, as well as measures to help users manage their safety online. Technology itself to be part of the solution. Sounds like we're talking about filters again. So, when Mark Zuckerberg made his recent comments about welcoming regulation, well, Zucky, be careful what you wish for. Of course, it really won't be Facebook that's affected by this because they have the money to both develop the technology and hire the legal team necessary to put themselves in compliance with whatever regulations the UK comes up with. It's the smaller competitors and the startups who will be most inhibited by this. The time is now for a decentralized solution that governments cannot shut down. For myself, I'm just glad we dumped a bunch of tea in the harbor all that time ago. We should never forget that the internet was a gift to the world, where everyone will be able to communicate what we want, the way we want, and the only restriction would be whether or not people wanted to listen to us. We should never give up that fundamental aspect of the most disruptive technology the world has ever seen. Ads are annoying, but ad blockers prevent publishers from making money. What if you could support your favorite websites, YouTube creators, Twitch streamers, social accounts, and many more ad-free and without paying anything, and even make some money yourself? It's not a pipe dream, it's airtime. Go to airtime.bogosity.tv and get the browser extension, and you'll earn cryptocurrency for the sites you visit, and so will the publisher. This is not a crypto miner. You and the publisher will both get part of the reward from current miners of the BitTube cryptocurrency, with no middleman taking a cut. Even if the publisher hasn't signed up yet, his tube will be put into a dedicated wallet that he can claim upon sign up. You can also use your tube to tip publishers and even purchase products. Airtime monetizes users and publishers with no ads or crypto miners. Go to airtime.bogosity.tv and start making money now. Say, if you're tired of the promos in this podcast, well, the patrons got it early and with no ads or promos. Just go to patreon.bogosity.tv and donate at any level. Okay, this one is just dumb. We know how much publishers hate ad blockers, and to be fair, you can understand that since it robs them of much needed revenue. Most websites aren't raking it in like Facebook is, and they need all the ad views they can get. That's why I'm really getting behind the airtime model. Bogosity.tv is no longer ad-supported, although the affiliate links are still there, because just by visiting the site, you're supporting this podcast by the cryptocurrency we make while you listen, provided you listen on the site. If you want to make some of that for yourself, that's what the airtime extension is for, and that's also how you can support your favorite content on YouTube and other websites that traditionally have used advertising. But most ad blockers like AdBlock Plus don't work like that. And since so many websites live or die by the money advertising brings in, they really don't want you using ad blockers. Of course, users find ads annoying. They don't like the tracking and spying that so many of them use. And there have even been cases of users getting malware via advertisements, so you can also understand why users want to block ads. And that's the source of the contention. A few years ago, digital publishing company Alex Springer started going after IOGmbH, the company that makes AdBlock Plus. They took them all the way up to the German Supreme Court, claiming that the extension undermined their business model, and fortunately they lost. Which is as it should be. All of the other points of contention notwithstanding, it is your right to have 100% control over what is and is not loaded on your own computer. But Alex Springer doesn't see it that way, and they're trying a ridiculous tactic. They're now claiming that AdBlock Plus, get this, infringes on their copyright. Yes, they're saying it's a violation of copyright to not show content. Quote, advertising blockers change the programming code of websites and thus directly access the legally protected offer of publishers. The thing is, it's not a violation of copyright to change the code on your own web browser. With the skills, you can do that yourself with the inspect command. It's only a violation of copyright to publish those changes yourself. And even then, it's a bit iffy when it comes to web code. IO responded, quote, the argument that we intervene in the programming code of websites I would like to call most absurd. It does not take much technical understanding to understand that a browser-side plugin does not make it possible to modify anything on Springer's servers. Hopefully this doesn't go anywhere, but either way I wouldn't be at all surprised to see others trying the same thing. All along they've been using copyright against file sharing to stop us from seeing the things that we want. Now they're using it to force us to see things that we don't want. And they won't stop until they have complete control over everything you see and hear. If you're on the Wi-Fi in a coffee shop or hotel, anyone on that network can get your traffic. Do you really trust all of those strangers? For that matter, do you really trust your ISP? A VPN can protect you from prying eyes, disguise your location, and even foil government censors. It's essential in this day and age, so go to vpn.bogosity.tv and you'll be taken to BoxPN. Starting at just $2.99 a month, you can get unlimited high-speed connections to VPN servers all over the world, and they don't log connections, so your privacy is assured. Traveling abroad, just VPN home, and don't worry about what those other governments are doing. Back at home, stop your ISP from traffic shaping and messing with the quality internet access you're paying good money for. You can connect from multiple machines at once, including your smartphone or tablet, and it supports all the secure standards, including OpenVPN and SSTP. Bypass censors and surveillance with your own secure VPN connection. Go to vpn.bogosity.tv. So this is actually pretty good. In Springfield, the capital city of Illinois, thousands of gun owners showed up to protest several bills being introduced to infringe on our basic human liberties as guaranteed by the Constitution. Rhonda Ezell, president and co-founder of Chicago Guns Matter, won in court when she sued the city of Chicago over a ban on gun ranges. She said, quote, gun control is not about safety. Gun control is about controlling the people, and once they commit tyranny on the citizens, they will then, in turn, take our lives because we won't be able to protect ourselves. She said, speaking as a black woman, the gun control laws have a racist history in this country, keeping down blacks as we've covered several times. But she says, quote, "That's neither here nor there. These are all our fundamental constitutional rights. The Constitution wasn't built on color." A lot of this was in response to the lobbying group Moms Demand Action, lobbying lawmakers to pass the Gun Dealer Licensing Act and other gun control measures. Volunteer coordinator Ellie Hanauer said, quote, "We really just want to make sure that we're living in a safe community, in a safe society. But safe from whom, Ellie? And safe for whom?" Or as resident Danny Gerger put it, quote, "Why should I be punished for what the killer in Aurora did, or anybody else throughout history? Those few thousands versus 100 million gun owners like me that didn't do anything wrong. How is that right?" One estimate had the crowd at around 7,000 people, dwarfing the Moms Demand Action lobbyists. I guess we'll find out now if Illinois lawmakers are going to even pretend to be acting on behalf of the people. We live in a world where light bulbs connect to the internet, and recent attacks on them prove that your online security is under threat like never before. Not only your websites, but the internet-enabled devices you buy. And the biggest problem is weak passwords. That's why you need LastPass. LastPass allows you to randomly generate strong, unique passwords on the web and on your internet-enabled devices, all protected by one master password. LastPass sets up in minutes and gives you secure automatic logins throughout the web, synchronizing across all your browsers, all your computers, and even your mobile devices, at home, at work, or on the road. It even securely stores sensitive form data, including credit card numbers, backup sensitive documents, software licenses, Wi-Fi logins, and more. And with LastPass Premium, you can get these benefits on other applications, manage passwords for your entire family, and also get priority customer support. Sign up at password.bogosity.tv for a free month of LastPass Premium. Log in securely everywhere using the last password you'll ever have to remember. Go to password.bogosity.tv and get LastPass now. And now it's time to make a permanent copy of this week's biggest Bogon emitter. So in case you're wondering how long it'll take for the bad consequences of the EU's new articles we've been talking about to show up, well, the answer is right now, and they haven't even taken effect yet. We've talked about legislation from the European Parliament that would require websites that host user-generated content to respond to takedown requests against hateful or terrorist content within 1 hour. We've quoted people saying that 1 hour is absolutely reasonable. The Internet Archive is an amazing website that for decades has attempted to keep a public record of everything on the ever-changing internet, as well as the public domain output of humanity. It's another gift to the world. Well, the French Internet Referral Unit just sent a takedown request demanding that the Internet Archive remove thousands of URLs they laughingly call terrorist propaganda. Included are the Bible, C-SPAN, the Smithsonian, Edgar Allan Poe, A Tale of Two Cities, Alice in Wonderland, Peter Rabbit, and all music by the Grateful Dead. It also included scholarly articles, government broadcasts and reports, genealogy resources, and even Project Gutenberg, a project dedicated to the digitization and preservation of public domain books. The Internet Archive's Chris Butler wrote, "The 1 hour requirement essentially means we would need to take reported URLs down automatically and do our best to review them after the fact. It would be bad enough if the mistaken URLs in these examples were for a set of relatively obscure items on our site, but the French IRU's lists include some of the most visited pages on archive.org and materials that obviously have high scholarly and research value. Yes, if European countries can get away with calling math, physics, and computer science terrorist propaganda, what else can they get away with?" They conclude, "Thus, we are left to ask, how can the proposed legislation realistically be said to honor freedom of speech if these are the types of reports that are currently coming from EU law enforcement and designated governmental reporting entities? It is not possible for us to process these reports using human review within a very limited time frame like 1 hour. Are we simply to take what's reported as terrorism at face value and risk the automatic removal of things like the primary collection page for all books on archive.org? Governments all over the world are bent on making the internet an echo chamber where no one can read or see anything they might consider to be subversive. Everyone should refuse to comply with any such order, refuse to pay any fine, and refuse to recognize any authority demanding that they do so. In the meantime, we'd better be working on getting the Internet Archive over on IPFS. European countries trying to do this is far from new, but thanks to recent EU legislation, they can now do so apparently with impunity. All they have to do is call Tom Sawyer terrorist propaganda, and it has to come down. But at least they'll be protecting us from the horrible terrorists behind the manifesto, spectrum sharing and cognitive radio with quantized channel information. Those fiends. And it's wanting to make all of that easy and legitimate that makes the EU this week's biggest Bogon emitter. Do you have children, or nieces or nephews? Are you homeschooling, or just want to counter some of the socialist indoctrination most children get in school? If so, go to Bogosity.tv/TuttleTwins, and you'll be taken to a website where you can get some great books for elementary-age children. The Tuttle Twins books are books about liberty and free market economics that include children's versions of Bastiat's The Law, Leonard Read's I, Pencil, and Hayek's The Road to Serfdom, as well as books about the Federal Reserve and how regulations protect business cronies. They'll learn about the harm caused by eminent domain, or regulations passed in the name of safety, and fundamental concepts of liberty. And as you can see from the sample pages on the website, they're all easy to read and nicely illustrated. They're just $9.99 a piece, or get a special discount as well as free bonuses when you purchase all 5. You can even buy in bulk to donate to schools and local libraries. So get the Tuttle Twins books at Bogosity.tv/TuttleTwins. And now let's block cipher this week's
Idiot Extraordinaire.
And this week it goes to Facebook for actually demanding that some users turn over their email passwords. When I first saw this, I checked the date to make sure it wasn't an April Fool's joke. Then I thought it might just be a hoax. Then I thought it might be malware. But no, this is real, and Facebook has actually been doing this. This comes just 2 weeks after Facebook admitting they had been storing the passwords of over 2 million users in plain text for years and had been accessible to 2,000 Facebook employees. Users were interrupted by a demand that they provide the password for the email account they used to sign up for Facebook. The notification said, quote, "To continue using Facebook, you'll need to confirm your email. Since you signed up with," includes the email address, "you can do that automatically." A text box below asked for the user's password. This was first reported by Twitter user Original Sushi, who tweeted, "Tested it myself, registering 3 times with 3 different emails using 3 different IPs and 2 different browsers. 2 out of 3 times I faced that email password verification thing right after clicking register account on their front page sign-up form. By going down that road, you're practically fishing for passwords you are not supposed to know." According to security consultant Jake Williams, quote, "That's beyond sketchy. They should not be taking your password or handling your password in the background. If that's what's required to sign up with Facebook, you're better off not being on Facebook." After basically the entire planet complained, Facebook said, "We understand the password verification option isn't the best way to go about this, so we are going to stop offering it." Well, why did you even think it was a good idea to begin with? They also said that users could bypass the alert and provide alternate means, like being emailed a verification link. But the only way to get there was by clicking the Need Help button. There was no way to know that this was how you could bypass it, or even that you could. Remember, never share your password to anything with anyone. You should type your email password only on your email site and nowhere else. Or better still, generate a random one with a password manager such as LastPass and let it enter them for you. So all of that makes Facebook this week's
Idiot Extraordinaire.
Well, that wraps up this Obscured by Clouds edition of the Bogosity podcast. Come to discord.bogosity.tv where you can join the discussion and post a question, statement, news article, or rant. This podcast depends on you to keep going, so please go to donate.bogosity.tv where you can give using PayPal or crypto, or subscribe at Patreon or Subscribestar to get the podcast and YouTube videos early and ad-free. You can even support the podcast for free with the airtime extension. Thank you for listening. Until next time, here's a quote from Edward Snowden. The answer to bad speech is not censorship. The answer to bad speech is more speech. We have to exercise and spread the idea that critical thinking matters now more than ever, given the fact that lies seem to be getting very popular. The Bogosity podcast is licensed under Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives 4.0 International License.
Bogosity.
You can now get 2 free audiobook downloads and a 30-day free trial at audible.bogosity.tv. Your choice from the world's largest selection of over 180,000 digital audiobooks and spoken word content for your iOS or Android device, Kindle, or MP3 player. Go to audible.bogosity.tv now.